So today's class, I want our intention to be to bring in a yogic idea of Poorna. Poorna is a Sanskrit word and it's really hard to translate. It is often written in English as perfection, but it doesn't mean that something is cosmetically perfect. It means something that gives you satisfaction, that brings fulfillment, that is as complete as it can be. So all of those words sort of rolled into one to make this lovely word Poorna. And with regards to yoga, we can take it into the idea of every yoga pose has its setup stage where we get our alignment right, and then we play with it a little bit. We feel what's right for our body and we try modifications and adaptations. And then what we want to do is take it to the next stage where instead of thinking left hand there, right foot there, what am I doing next? We're enjoying the posture, making it our own and bringing it to Poorna, bringing it to fullness. And that doesn't mean taking like the hardest option. It might mean quite the opposite. It might mean taking an option which is more supported on the floor or with limbs in different positions so that you can get the most out of a posture, which if you had your arms and legs behind your head, you'd just be struggling and forcing, and that's not the idea of yoga at all. So that's your challenge for today. I've written to make it a soul expression. Offer everything up that you have at the end of a posture when we reach that sort of penultimate breath, and then let it go. And we move on to the next thing. Enjoy it for what it offered you, what you gave, what you got, and move on. So there's a lovely Sanskrit chant which talks about Poorna, and it is part of the peace mantras, and it discusses the relationship between the supreme consciousness, whatever you want to take as that, Brahma, God, the universe, and the individual consciousness, us, beings, the Atman. And I will chant it for you, and then I'll try and explain it. So this is how it goes. Om Poornamadam Poornamida Poornat Poornamudashite Poornasya Poornamadaya Poornamiva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. You've probably heard a lot of Poornas in there. So it is saying, the eternal spirit of the universe is complete and perfect. Therefore, everything in the universe, every being, is also complete and perfect. From that perfection of the whole universe, the eternal spirit, comes this perfection, us, everything in the universe. Remove the original from which perfection comes, and you will find that perfection still remains. We're still here because it's infinite. This whole idea of Poorna continues on. We send it on. So that's the idea behind today's lesson. Let's come to our seated, comfortable position. Allow the eyes to close, the shoulders to relax, and breathe. Breathing is our life force, bringing the attention to the breath. Following those inhales into the body and the exhales out of the body. Think about if we can bring Poorna into our breathing. So as you inhale, allowing the torso to expand so that you can take a nice deep breath in. Take it to its conclusion. Notice that pause, that turning point, and then let the exhale happen. And again, Draw the tummy in. At the end of the exhale, push the air out so you've got that full exhale. Pause and then notice the inhale comes in. And what will happen is gradually the breath begins to deepen and slow. By bringing attention to it like this, we're really getting that complete inhale, that complete exhale. Feel if there's a difference for you, breathing like this and enjoying it. Poorna means relishing what we're doing. So think of all of the benefits that this life-giving breath brings us, drawing oxygen into the lungs to be transferred into the bloodstream, to pump around our body to give us energy. Good. And with that feeling, bring your hands to your heart in front of the chest. Inhale there. Exhale. Let's bind the fingers together, push the palms away, and lift the palms up to the sky on the next inhale, and let the fingertips stretch out and come down and touch the floor. You can either be cross-legged or have the legs in front of you. You're going to send just the left arm up to start with, inhaling up, exhaling over into a side stretch. Breathing here, every inhale, trying to rise up, open up the side of the body. Every exhale, softening into that side bend, bending the right elbow to let us come over to our maximum on this last breath. And then rising up again, both hands lifting up to the sky, turning to your right. Left hand comes forward, right hand goes back. Nice tall spine, inhale. If the back is okay, then we continue on the exhale into the twist. Tummy turns, chest turns, look over that right shoulder. Inhale back a little way. Exhale, we turn again. So we're playing our edge, we're exploring our edge. We don't want to force into a twist this early on. So nice and gently, last breath, we twist. Keep the hands on the knee. Inhale, the right hand comes up and over into a side bend the opposite way. Breathing now into the right side of the body, letting the head be heavy. Ear is facing down towards the floor. Arm is trying to be in line with that top ear. Inhale, and on the exhale, bow the head forward. Let the hands come to the ground. Roll yourself back up to sitting and bring the hands back to the heart space. Let's change the cross of the legs if you are cross-legged, or you can adjust the way you're sitting to get comfortable, and we'll do that on the other side. Inhale. Exhale, linking the fingers, push the palms away, round the back, drop the head. On the inhale, we lift up, reaching up to the sky, then releasing that bind, taking the fingertips wide down to the floor. Moving mindfully, just the right arm going up. And on the exhale, coming over. Good. Lifting the spine, the torso up and making it longer on the inhale, softening it on the exhale. This left elbow gradually bending as the body allows you to come into this deeper side bend. Don't force it. One more exhale. Next inhale, we're going to rise up, hands touch at the top. And this time you're twisting to your left. So right hand forward, left hand back. Wave that length up through the spine, inhaling, and then exhale with a tall spine, turning, spiraling up, head going around last, then unwind a little bit. Rediscover length between the vertebrae, and then starting from the bottom, the tummy, up through the chest, shoulders, head twist. One more time. Nice inhale to prepare for the twist. Turning gently, don't force it. And then keeping that right hand on the knee, the left hand lifts up and over we come into a side stretch with this sort of diagonal angle fingers pointing in the same direction as that right knee. Head is turned, looking to the side, so that the upper ear is pointing up to the ceiling and the arm is reaching over that. Breathe into any tightness. Exhale, invite it to soften. And inhale to finish. Exhale, take the hands down to the floor and gluing those sit bones to your seat, to the mat, whatever you're sat on. Start walking the hands forward. When you feel that's as far as you can reach forward, inhale and lift the heart, get a flat back, and think on the exhale, I'm hinging rather than rounding, hinging. It might be a tiny bit forward. You might find that you can go quite a bit forward, softening, bending the elbows, and then let the head drop down, the back round, and breathe here. If you want to, you can walk the hands out a little further. Sometimes it's nice to bring them in closer to you. Experience the idea of your fullest forward bow for now. Bowing down to the floor and then creeping the hands back towards you, rising up. Good. Roll the shoulders a couple of times. Let's take our seated cat-cow. If you want to change cross of legs or bring the feet forward instead of having crossed legs, that's fine. Inhale, nice tall spine, and then exhale, tilt the hips back. Drop the chin down towards the chest, rounding the spine. As you inhale, we tilt the hips forward, lift the heart, and lift the gaze. So moving backwards and forwards between your cat and cow stretch, seeing where your limit of tipping is, seeing if you can open the heart as you come forward, round the back as you go back. And next time that you take an inhale, stay in your cow pose, your cow posture, and breathe there for a couple of breaths. Imagine you can lengthen the space from the pubic bone up towards the tummy, up through the chest, lifting that heart forward. Long neck, don't crunch the neck back, long out through the crown of the head, your fullest cow pose stretch, and then exhale slowly, come into your cat stretch, tipping the hips back, dropping the head down, working here for a couple of breaths. Can you drop the chin a little fully, a little more fully? Perhaps you can bend the elbows and feel an extra stretch sensation all down the spine. And inhale, rising up to a neutral position again. Exhale and release that work. Good stuff. Come to kneeling in our tabletop position now. And line up, hands under shoulders, knees under hips, unless you prefer to come down onto forearms. Going to take an inhale here as we are, and then on the exhale, start walking the hands into puppy dog. So hips stay over the knees, hands reach forward and push into the floor, and we try and elongate the spine. Let the neck be long, the head is in between the upper arms. And just like when we're in down dog, let there be a little tilt of the pelvis so that on the exhale, you melt the heart down towards the floor. And you can rise up a little bit on the inhale and find that again. Exhale, melting the heart down. The shoulder blades slide down and back. Good. One more time, breathing out into that puppy dog stretch. And then bringing forearms onto the floor. I want you to either keep the arms in Sphinx sort of posture or link the fingers together, tuck the bottom little finger in, and we're going to take a plank, a forearm plank. So you can tuck the toes under, push into your forearms, and find your plank pose. Feel the core engaging. drop down to the knees if you haven't already. Take a breath, and then we're going to find that again. So on an inhale, push into the forearms and try and line up as best you can, head, shoulders, knees, ankles. Then you can drop the knees down, bring the belly to the floor, and come into classical Sphinx pose with the forearms on the ground, arms are forward, legs are relaxed onto the mat, tops of the toes are pointing back. And breathe here in your Sphinx. So I want you to think on the inhale of lifting the chest, rolling the shoulders back as best you can, drawing the shoulder blades down and looking ahead. And on the exhale, dropping the head, releasing that work. Keep going with that. If it's strong on the lumbar spine, then you can take crocodile instead, having the forehead dropped down onto the hands on the mat and lifting the head on the inhale. So some sort of work going on, lifting through the upper back, exhaling down. Remember, if lumbar spine feels like it's working hard, try tucking the toes in. Think about widening and softening across the back of the lumbar area and lifting the heart. One more lift, and then I want you to push into your forearms, push into the knees, and walk the hands back, easing yourself all the way back into child pose. Hips come back towards the heels, resting the head down towards the mat or onto the mat. And breathe here. Rising up to tabletop pose. Instead of puppy dog, we can now take downward facing dog. So if that's not right for you, that's fine. You carry on with puppy dog again. Really spread into the hands, push into those fingertips, tuck the toes and lift into your down dog. And start with bent knees. Find that dog tilt in the hips, which means the pelvis tilts a little bit forward. So those sit bones, you're really trying to point them up to the sky. And then push the mat away from you to find length, a nice long spine. The last thing you do is take the heels down towards the floor and stretch out the back of the legs. Let's bend the knees, find that tilt again. Lengthen the spine and heels come down towards the floor. And then we're going to walk the legs out. If you need a break, come to kneeling, but otherwise bending one foot, bending one knee and pushing into the opposite heel. You can do this in kneeling, remember, taking one foot out behind and then the other. Now a little bit of a test. We're going to come from downward facing dog into plank pose. You might need to walk the hands forward a little bit if they're close to the feet. So on an inhale, see if you can bring the shoulders over the wrists in plank. You can drop to your knees immediately. I don't mind as long as you find that core engagement. So let's try that again. Pressing into the hands, nice straight plank. Think backs of the heels reach back, crown of the head reaches forward. Drop onto the knees and lower yourself slowly with control down to the floor, tummy to the floor. This time, the hands should end up under the shoulders and the elbows point back, not out to the side. And we're going to rise up in Cobra unless you prefer Sphinx. So inhaling, lifting the heart, lifting the head. Exhale, relax down again, keeping the thighs and hips on the floor as best you can. Again, that idea of rolling the shoulders back so we open the heart forward and then release it down. So imagine as if you could propel yourself forward on that inhale and then rest down again. One more time, lifting up, inhaling. Exhale, slowly ease yourself back through a cat stretch all the way into child pose. Feel the work on your back, okay? We're taking it from a flexion into rounding it. It's a big move for the back. Let it release and feel that counter posture. So as much as we can look at finding Poorna in hard working postures, we can also look at finding it in a resting pose. And instead of thinking, what else can I explore? What can I do here to work harder? What we can look for is ways to release and relax more. So softening down, taking wide knees, maybe touching big toes, or keeping the knees more parallel to each other. Whether you want to stretch the arms out long or let them release the elbows down to the floor, finding your child. And every time we come here, take the option that feels good to you. Next, I want you to take that into a flow. So we're going to do 6 movements, options of any of those different postures along the way. So we're going to start with the first option that we did with puppy dog and Sphinx, and then I'll show you the down dog and the cobra. You can mix and match as much as you want. So let's all start together. We'll come up to kneeling, inhaling, that's movement 1. And then on the exhale, walk the hands forward for puppy dog. Movement 2, exhaling there. Inhale, drop onto the forearms and take forearm plank. That's an inhale into plank. Exhale, drop the knees, the belly, come down to the floor. Relax. Next inhale rises you up to Sphinx. Draw the chest forward, roll the shoulders back. And exhale all the way back into child. That's our 6th movement. You can keep working exactly like that. Options, we can rise up to tabletop, inhale. So you're either going to puppy dog now, or you can tuck the toes and come into downward facing dog. Everybody is coming to plank. So you're either floating forward to plank or forearm plank. Your choice, knees up, knees down. And then everyone rests the knees down, tummy down to the floor. Exhale there. Ready for cobra or Sphinx, inhale. And ease the back all the way through a cat stretch back to child pose. Okay, keep that flow going twice more on your own. So everybody inhaling to tabletop, then choosing a dog, either puppy dog or down dog. Next choice is your plank. As you inhale, make it your own. Exhale brings you down to the floor. Try and do that in a controlled way. And then inhale lifts the heart in Sphinx or Cobra. Exhale takes you all the way back to child. In your own rhythm, your own breath, start making this your own and think about that idea of Poorna, perfection, completion, fulfillment. Flow through the postures and let the breath take you in and out of each pose. Really nice. When you reach child pose, and there's no rush to get there, you rest there and reflect. Remember, every posture we can find this in. So in child pose, enjoy the feeling of relaxation. It proves that there's no need to take a posture to any form of extreme challenge in order to find fulfillment, Poorna. We can find that through relaxing into a pose. And then we're going to start making our way to the front of our mat. So we can rise up to tabletop, tucking the toes under, either starting to walk forward to your forward bend, or you can take a breath in downward facing dog, and maybe a little bunny hop, or you could stride one foot forward and then the other. Everyone coming together into a forward fold at the front of your mat. Bend the knees to start with. Lift the hands onto the shins and come up to a half forward fold where the heart is parallel with the floor. You're looking down, nice long neck, crown of the head reaches forward. Take a big inhale there. Exhale, bow down. Trying to straighten the legs a little more, dropping the head down, and then release the knees. Release that pressure. Lift up to half fold again. Find length in the spine. Inhaling into that length, and then exhale. See what you can do to keep the back straight as long as possible. It'll round at the last minute, that's fine. Hands dropping down. One more time. So either fingertips to the shins, or maybe you've worked a little bit and now the fingertips can stay near the toes. And then we bow down on the exhale as deeply as feels right to you. Enjoy the stretch of the back of the body. We're going to rise all the way up. So feet hip width apart, press into the feet. You can roll up or you can rise up with a flatter back. Today I want you to finish by lifting the arms up above the head each time we come up, offering that up to the universe, and then bringing the hands down to the heart to finish. Lovely. Come into mountain pose. So just like any other posture, our mountain pose, we can find the Poorna, the completeness of this posture. Roll those shoulders back, drop them down. Let's think about grounding our feet down into the earth. Let yourself be heavy, drop down into the ground. Feet can be together or hip width apart, and then feel a rebound. If we push our feet down into the floor, feel a rebound of energy coming back, and maybe you feel you can lift your kneecaps, firm the thighs a little bit. Think about that core engagement, very subtle in mountain pose. Little squeeze of the glutes, a little lift of the tummy between the pubic bone and the belly button. It draws up, slightly in on the side waist. Lift the heart, those erector spinae muscles at the back working hard. Crown of the head floats up as though there's a thread on top of it, but the chin stays tucked, so the neck stays long, the chin stays level with the floor. Do you feel as strong as a mountain? Good. And from this mountaintop, we're going to place a tree, a strong, steady tree today, exploring your expression of tree pose, pressing into the left foot first, finding roots, sending them down into the ground, bringing the right foot near to the leg, deciding on the hand position, finding a fixed point to gaze at. When you're ready, lifting the foot onto the leg and breathing here in your tree pose. So I don't mind today if you want to take the foot up, either above or below the knee, not on the knee. I don't mind if you want to explore lifting the hands. Okay, all these things can be more challenging or more fulfilling. No good trying to lift the hands and have the foot up high if that takes you out of the posture. If that makes you wobble a lot more, then come into a way that you can hold the pose. Take a couple of really nice, deep, slow breaths to finish and come to your Poorna in your tree and set the foot down and let it go. Okay, you came, you did your best, whether it was really still or really wobbly, that's fine. Then transfer the weight. Feel that difference between one leg and the other, bringing the foot somewhere onto the leg when you're ready, setting yourself up with the hands in the position that's right for you, with a gaze at something not moving, so probably not the screen at this stage. And then working in your tree pose, which means focusing, concentrating as best you can, feeling the posture, becoming the posture. Okay, you are that tree, steady and tall on a mountaintop, pushing into the floor, lifting up. Feel that strength. Last couple of breaths as you enjoy your fullness in tree pose, and then let it go. Let the foot rest down. Come back to mountain pose and really own it. Whether it was your best ever tree or it felt really wobbly today, you gave it your all, and then we release it. We let it go. And now take this idea of really owning and becoming the posture into our warriors. So turning to your left, nice big stride. And the right toes are going to turn to the front of the mat. The left heel goes back a little bit, and you feel sturdy and steady before we start. And then you inhale, taking the hands up, shoulder height, looking down that right arm. Exhale, bend the front knee. And take a few breaths here to establish yourself in Warrior Two pose. Think about what you could do to summon the essence of the posture more. Maybe planting down through the feet, firms up the legs, lifting the tummy, lifting the heart, proud gaze. Perhaps if the shoulders ache, if this posture makes your shoulders ache, you take the hands to the hips so that you still get that strong feeling without worrying about the pain in your shoulders. That front thigh can slightly rotate outwards so that the knee is lined up with the middle of the toes. It's going in that direction. Nice big breath to finish here, feeling strong. Exhale, bend the right arm and come to side angle. So rest the right arm on the thigh and start with that top hand on the hip. Really rotate, spin the heart as much as you can so it's a side angle, not a forward facing angle. And if you want to, lift the top arm up. So let's explore your side angle today. How can you bring this to fullness? Press down on the outside edge of that back foot and reach through the crown of the head. Find that one diagonal line of energy. We're not slumping into that front thigh. The hand is alive. The leg is doing the work. The torso is lifted out with that core engagement. Big breath to finish. And then exhale, turn to the front foot. Frame the foot with the hands. Turn the back toes. And you're in a runner's lunge. I'm going to walk the hands round into our wide-legged forward fold. Bending the knees as much as you want to so that you can touch your fingertips to the mat and have a little sway side to side. We're going to turn this into a revolved wide-legged forward fold. So if you've got a block or book that you want to bring the floor up a bit higher to you, then grab that now. And we're going to place the right hand in the center, taking the left hand to our left hip. Keep the knees bent at this stage and find length in the spine, like we do in our forward folds. And then on the exhale, start turning to your left. So that left shoulder is turning up towards the sky. It doesn't have to come to a 90-degree angle. Okay, you could be 45 degrees, you could be almost facing the floor. You know where your edge is. Working at that edge, if you want to, lift the arm up to the sky. If that brings discomfort into the shoulder, into the arm, then bring the hand back to the hip and work there. Got a couple more breaths to find fullness in this posture. Maybe the legs straighten up a little bit, pressing into the floor, growing nice and tall, and then bowing back down. Bring the hand down, a little sway in the hips before we swap over. Left hand presses into the floor, right hand comes to the hip, and we find length in that half forward fold, first of all, before we go anywhere. Long spine, and then on an exhale, start turning, lifting now the right shoulder around. You'll feel the tightness in your body when you meet that edge and work there with the breath. Maybe the arm lifts up, maybe that hinders you. So wherever you are with this posture, Have a little pulse. Play with straightening the legs and bending the legs, extending the arm or bringing it back to the hip. Lovely. One more big breath. Make this the fullest expression of the twist that's right for you today, and then bring the hand down. Bow down to finish the pose, and walk your hands back round to the front, coming to that runner's lunge. Push down into the hands, and you're either stepping back to kneeling or through down dog first of all. A breath in downward facing dog if that feels nice to you. And then everyone dropping to their knees, take the hips back to child pose. Resting down. You can either stay here for the next 3 or 4 nice long deep breaths, or if you want to keep moving, we'll flow through the vinyasa that we did, the little sequence, taking the options that are right for you. So if you want to come with me, that's fine. If you want to stay in child, stay there. Inhaling up to tabletop pose. Exhaling, either walking the hands forward for puppy dog or coming into downward facing dog. Inhaling to plank, your version of plank. It can be from down dog, or it could be down on our forearms, dropping to the knees, and then coming down to lying on your tummy. Inhale, either into Sphinx or Cobra. Exhale slowly all the way back into child pose. Hips come back, head rests down. Lovely. And then everyone rising up to tabletop, tucking the toes, thinking about how you're going to make your way forward into your forward fold. You can bunny hop, you can take a nice big stride. You might want to take little steps up to the front of your mat and let the head hang down in your forward fold. Feet hip width apart or close together. Let's take a couple of half forward folds, lifting the heart and the head up, lengthen the spine. Inhale. Exhale, bow it down. Each time feeling how those hamstrings are doing. Bowing to them. Inhale, rising up halfway and bowing down again. This time pressing into your feet, you're going to rise all the way up, rooting down, rising up, lifting the hands above the head. Nice big inhale, and then the exhale brings the hands down to the heart and releases you into mountain again. Establishing that place on your mountaintop, really strong and sturdy. And then taking a turn to your right. Let's do your warriors on the other side. Wide stride. Maybe you can go a little wider than you did last time. Explore it. See if it makes the posture feel fuller and more enjoyable, or whether you were right the first time and you don't want to overstretch it. So turn your left toes to the front of the mat, adjust the back heel. Inhale and mean it. Take your arms out like swords and then exhale. Bending the front knee, looking down that front arm like you mean business. Good. Can you reach through the fingers a little more? Drop the shoulders away from the ears. We're not super tense warriors. We are calm and relaxed but strong. So remember those core muscles. We're engaging the thighs by pushing down through the feet. We're lifting the torso, that little pelvic tilt, clutching the buttocks just slightly to feel that firmness in the posture. The heart is lifted. We're not reaching forward. The shoulders are over the hips. Sink down into those hips. The last couple of breaths, really mean that warrior. And inhale to finish. Exhale, bend the left hand, left elbow, and come onto your side angle pose. And establish yourself here. Take your time to set it up. Don't rush to lift the arm. If that feels good, give that a whirl, but maybe it's better to come back to the hip. Find the angle. You want to push down into the outside edge of the back foot and really feel that that angle is going out through the top of your head, like there's a rod through the body. And if all the weight is in that front arm resting on that front thigh, see if you can just lift it up so it's hardly touching it. You are strong in your legs in this posture. Inhale and then exhale. Bow down to that front foot, frame the foot with the hands, turn all 10 toes towards the front. Breathe in the runner's lunge. Breathe out as you walk the hands round, coming into our wide-legged forward fold. We're not going to take a twist here this time. So heel toe the feet out just a little more. You can always bring them back in again. And then start walking the hands forward to make a wide-legged downward dog type position. Bend the knees, tilt the hips up, sit bones towards the sky, just like we were doing a down dog. And then start walking the hands back towards you, bend the elbows, and see if that brings the head down a little closer to the floor, crown of the head towards the floor. Maybe the legs can straighten. Maybe you keep bending and then straightening them. So there's no goal. We don't have to get our head touching the floor. It might be an inch from the floor. It might be a foot from the floor. You are making your bow down to the floor. If it feels like you can heel toe the feet wider apart. If it feels like it would be better for you to bring them in a little bit, maybe that makes the bow stronger for you. Last bow down in this posture for today. And then walk it back round to the front of the mat, coming back into your runner's lunge. You can drop the back knee if you want to, stepping the foot back into down dog or kneeling. Taking a breath in your down dog to enjoy the stretch out down the back of the body. And then everybody coming to child pose and breathing into this posture. Deciding whether your Poorna would be better reached staying here for 3 or 4 delicious long breaths, or if you're going to come through your sequence, rising up to tabletop, coming into down dog or puppy dog, using the breath to work through options, finding your plank, inhaling into plank pose, and then exhaling down to the floor, releasing down, ready to rise up on an inhale into cobra or sphinx. And then the exhale finally takes you back to child, where we all meet and come together again. Nice breaths there. Deep recovery breath. And pressing yourself up to sitting. Swinging the legs around in front of you. And taking them out nice and wide. Toes point up to the ceiling. And if you want to sit up on a blanket or block here, absolutely fine. Might help with the posture, and it certainly might help you feel this Poorna that we're looking for, this fulfillment of each posture. So when you feel that the feet are as wide apart as they can go, then you can bring in the right foot and place the sole of the foot against the left thigh. And we're going to bend to our side, turn to face the bent knee. So try and get the torso round to face that right knee. Left hand is ready on the left leg, and the right hand lifts up, inhaling, exhaling over we go to the side. 3 deep breaths here. So each time you exhale, finding what you can in this side bend. And maybe that means the inhale rises you up, spins the heart towards the ceiling a little more, and the exhale, the hand might creep down the straight leg, and then it might come back up again. It might reach for the toes, or it might stay up on the shin. If you want to, tuck the hand under the calf for a completely different feel. This spins the heart even more around to the sky, only if you're super comfortable already in this posture. And imagine those top fingers are going to touch the toes on our last exhale. Doesn't matter how near they get to them. And then rising up, both hands rising up, letting that go. Good. And take the foot out wide again and swap it over. Left foot tucked into the right thigh, re-establish nice tall spine and turn to face the bent knee. Right hand this time ready on the right leg. Inhale, left hand rises up, keeping that length in the side body. Over we go. And breathe into this, pulsing if you can. Keep the toes flexed, pointing up to the ceiling. Thinking about how this posture was 6 weeks ago. Are we still battling with it, fighting it? Or is there some joy, some relish in what we're achieving? Bringing it to fullness now, which is right for us. Last exhale before we inhale and rise up, lifting the hands, exhaling them down. Good. And then bringing both feet forward. Let's have a little shake out. Preparing the mind for a forward fold. Seated forward folds can be more challenging than the standing version. We're not going to wave into it today. We're going to hinge forward and stay there and find our Poorna if we can. Nice upright spine to start. Inhale, lifting the hands. Exhale, hinge forward. Doesn't matter how far you come. Feel that resistance when the back wants to round. Stop there. Take the hands down to the floor or the legs and bend the knees. Starting the work here. Inhale, lift the heart, lifting the head. Exhale, bowing down as we try to straighten the legs a little more. Inhale, the knees release the stretch down the back of our body. We lift up a little bit and then exhale down again. Each time we visit the bow, we're finding something different. We are squeezing the juice out of this posture. So maybe hands hold legs and creep down. Maybe they're on the floor beside the legs and they're creeping forward. And they might need to come right back up again. And then suddenly the body goes, okay, I can release a little more. So a couple more deep breaths now, as if this was the last forward bow you were ever going to make. Feel into the fullness of this posture in whichever way is right for you. And then lifting the hands, really engage the core, let the knees bend a little to help you rise up. Inhaling up, offering yourself up to the universe. There goes the posture. And bringing the hands down beside the hips. Good. Now we have our boat pose. So can we find contentment, completion, satisfaction in boat? We shall find out. Let's have the knees bent, feet flat on the floor, unless you want to do this lying on your back, in which case try and lift the shoulders up a little bit so that we make sure you're working the core muscles. And hands can be behind the thighs or down by the sides to start with, and want to think about the shapes the body is making. Nice tall spine, lifting the heart and trying to keep that length in the side body, that lift in the front body. Inhale into that and then exhale, rock back. If you lose that straight away, come out and rediscover the lift in the heart. Now, you know the options. You can take the hands away. You can lift the feet so that the shins are parallel to the floor. You can try and spread into those toes and push through the balls of the feet. If you want to, straightening the legs, but without losing that lift. Breathe into this. Everything is working. Thighs, buttocks, the abdominal muscles, the erector spinae are lifting the heart. Can you take 2 more breaths? Find that Poorna. Enjoy, smile into it, and enjoy even more releasing out of it. And easing yourself down to lying on the floor, hugging the knees over the chest, and having a little rock from side to side. Dropping the feet down to the floor. And take the legs out nice and long. And the arms out to the side in a T shape, so shoulder height if you can. Palms face up to the sky, preparing for our spinal twist. So first of all, we're going to bend the left leg, bringing the left knee up. If you want to, you can shift the hips a little to the left first. And if it helps, you can take the right hand to the outside of the knee. Inhale here, glue the left shoulder to the floor, and you can guide the knee as you roll over towards the right, coming into your spinal twist. You'll immediately know if it's really uncomfortable to bend both knees. If it's okay like this, if you like it, you can find somewhere for that left foot to rest, whether it's on the straight leg, in front of it, behind it. And then decide whether you need to shift the hips, wriggle the shoulders down to the floor. You might want to turn the head so that the nose points in the opposite direction to the knees, looking out to that left hand or closing your eyes. And breathe into the stretch. You will feel tightness somewhere in the body. Inhale into that resistance and exhale, let it go. This is another posture where Poorna means how much can you relax and release in the posture. Deep belly breaths. Feel that belly swell as you breathe in, and feel the whole body soften as you breathe out. One more big breath here. And on the inhale, rolling yourself onto your back and coming back to center. Find that central position. Arms can be out to the sides. Knees bent for a moment or straight. And then deciding how to take this on the other side. So maybe the legs start straight and you're bending the right knee this time, drawing it up over the chest. Left hand can come to the outside of the knee, and you're taking that turn, keeping that right shoulder on the floor as best you can, coming into your twist, and then seeing what can you do to play with this posture to create your fullest expression of it. Maybe that means bending the knees. Maybe it means adjusting where the hands are. You can take the hands out in a T shape, or is it nice to have that left hand resting on the top knee? Turning the head to look towards the right hand or keeping it face up to the ceiling. And breathing. Letting the breath lead you into this posture deeper and deeper. Relaxing you down into the floor. Two more big breaths. seeing if a little more of you can release down into the mat with those exhales. And then let it be an inhale that takes you out of the twist and brings you into a neutral position. And you can decide from here how to take your relaxation. If you want to grab any extra layers, now's the time to get a blanket or cushion under your head, cozy up with socks or a covering. And then classic Shavasana, letting the legs be long, toes drop out to the side, hands down beside the body with the palms facing up. If that's not comfortable for you, then taking that constructive rest pose with the bent knees resting together. Take your time with this. Discover the Poorna of your Shavasana. Can you make yourself any more comfortable? Letting the jaw relax, the tongue be soft in the mouth, the shoulders release back to the floor, the limbs are heavy. The eyes gently closed if that's okay for you. Thinking about this idea of Poorna, idea of fulfillment. Every day we're presented with choice. A choice whether to evolve or remain. And if we decide to remain just as we are, unchanged, then we will be presented with the same situations, the same challenges, the same routines until something prompts us to change, until we learn from these things that nothing stays still. If we choose to evolve, flow with life, go with the changes, then we start to connect with our inner strengths, our inner beliefs. We start to discover who we are, how great we can be. And by exploring things just outside our comfort zone, we start discovering how good things can become. So, we eventually realize that we are complete and perfect just as we are. We have everything we need inside us. All we have to do is let ourselves be, become, choose to evolve. This music now will chant the Poorna mantra. Roughly translated, that is perfect. This is perfect. From the perfect springs the perfect. Take the perfect away from the perfect, and still the perfect remains. That is Poorna. Breathe into that. Starting to let small movements come in to fingers and toes. Stretching out your limbs. Using those breaths to wake the body slowly up from relaxation. Bringing that feeling of fulfillment, of completing the practice with you. Let even your movements coming out of relaxation feel like you're relishing them, enjoying them. You can hug your knees or roll onto your side. Slowly, when you're ready to, pressing yourself up to a seated position. Ready to take the last couple of breaths together and an Om Shanti 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 if you wish. Bring the hands to the heart center. On an inhale, reaching the arms out and up. On an exhale, sighing out as you bring the hands back to the heart. One more time like that. Nice, big, energizing inhale. Offering everything up to the universe. And bringing the hands in, accepting gratefully what it has to offer. Inhale if you wish. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Taking a bow to yourself, to that idea of looking for, finding fulfillment, completion, satisfaction, contentment in everything we do. May you find Poorna in your yoga practice and in your life. Namaste.